Hey everybody, long time no see. So it is now October, but at the end of August, beginning of September, I went back to Arizona per usual to go to the best con in the world, at least in my opinion. Saboten Con. We always have the basic Lolita 101, 102 panels. Sometimes we have makeover panels for anybody who isn't quite in Lolita, but would like to try the fashion first, you know, if they're curious. We always have the Lolita tea parties, but this year we did something different. We had a Lolita Hell panel. Cue background. So since it is October, I thought that it would be the perfect excuse to kind of dive into this and share our panel with the world. If I'm like looking around like over in this area, that's because I'm referencing my laptop. So this will be kind of like a Lolita Iceberg, but I wanted to go more with the theme of like the 7 layers of Lolita Hell. But let's be real, like it is like way deeper than just the 7 levels of hell. I don't even know how to categorize some of this stuff. You may be familiar with some of these things, you may not. So I guess let's just dive into it. All right. Milanoo. Once upon a time, there was a humble little shop who, you know, had a passion for fashion, and they would make posts on ITA Live Journal about like their services. And there were so many people who would also post on there saying like, oh yeah, like we love Milanoo, like they're amazing, you know, customer service 10 out of 10, quality 10 out of 10, give them your money, like they're the best in the world. But surprise, it all turned out to be fake. Milanoo back in the day was known for this. They were known for making fake LJ accounts and spamming about how great they were. They would make fake blogs, fake blog spots, fake everything, anything that they could do to show everybody how amazing and great quality and service they were. But unfortunately, for how much effort they put into making fake accounts, trying to sell themselves as being a great, amazing company, like they put zero of that effort into like actually being all those things that they claimed they were. So this, I think, is one of the most well-known things. Milanoo is known for, I call it the shower curtain dress. So obviously they have this Baby the Star Shine Bright stolen stock photo. November 5th, 2009, Milanoo Nightmare. As I am typing this, guys, I just received my Milanoo order. I kid you not, it is the worst dress I have seen in my whole life. You will need to see the pictures just to see how bad it is. Just a forewarning, it's floor length. So yeah, a lot of people refer to this as the shower curtain dress. I remember this and I thought it was kind of interesting because I always thought that like around this time they've already had like a bad reputation for like sending you like poor imitations of what they were supposed to be sending you. In 2009, I guess people were still learning their lesson. There was one dress that I was really trying hard to find. I specifically remember, maybe somebody else who's old like also knows, the dress that they received in the mail wasn't actually completely sewn, if it was even sewn at all. It was still like held together with like the sewing pins. And I was trying so hard to find that post. So unfortunately I couldn't find that one, but this one is definitely like one of the more memorable ones that I could find. And then there's of course this one. The photo is dated from 2011. If you go on LiveJournal, they are unblurred, but to respect their privacy. And also I personally thought that they were really, really cute. And it just kind of made me sad that like this is what is messed up with these brands, y'all, that they like take people's money and they just scam people. And especially it's like stuff like this, like Devilinspired is kind of the same way. Like they scam people who don't know better, and it's really messed up. So this one says, Cosplay Lolita, August 9th, 2011. Yesterday, I created a Facebook album titled Lolita. When I checked on it later that day, a friend commented asking if I meant cosplay Lolita. I replied no and told her where I bought my dresses. There's only 2 for now. She hasn't responded back, but I'm feeling a bit self-conscious now. She's been a Lolita much longer than I have, so I'm wondering if the dresses look more cosplay than actual Lolita fashion. This is my very first Lolita dress. It's from Milanoo. Gas! This was before I saw and heard all the god-awful reviews, except for the ribbon detail, which I'll fix up myself. It's not really bad. So this is a classic example of why, if you don't know better, you don't know better. But as a veteran Lolita at this point, like, off the bat, like, it's not, girl, I'm sorry. It's not even, I mean, I'm sure they know by now, but it's not even just the ribbon that's bad. It's the ruffle proportions, it's the silhouette, like the whole thing just looks like anime Lolita instead of like proper Lolita. It for sure looks like cosplay Lolita. And I feel really bad because I do remember these prices, you know, and in addition to like at minimum $20 shipping just to get the item sent to you, like you're already costing enough money that you probably could have gotten something kind of nice like secondhand off of EGL.com sales and it would have looked better. But yeah, so that's why we don't fuck with Milanoo and like sketchy ass places. Please do your research before throwing your money at any kind of online company. There's tons of like places that are reputable to buy from. Yeah, just please do your research. Like, we want you to be successful. We don't want you to struggle like we did back 2009 or like you're in 11. Like, we want you to be successful. Yeah, just when in doubt, like, we're here to help you. I just wanted to add real quick that I did not add this into the original slide, but I did want to mention that it was crazy because around 2014, I actually saw on my local news station that they were doing a story about women being scammed out of hundreds of dollars when they were buying wedding dresses. And it was crazy because the site that they were pinpointing was in fact Milanoo. And I thought it was so crazy because by this time it was generally accepted by the Lolita and cosplay community. Do not use Milanoo for any of your purchasing because it is a scam. You will get either nothing or an absolute satin monstrosity. And I thought it was so crazy that at this point in time that, like, wow, the Lolitaverse and real life has come crashing together. And then, of course, I can mention Milanoo without mentioning our present day Milanoo, which is Devilinspired. So I'm not really going to get into this again because I've already like made a couple videos about how much I like despise them and how like awful they are. Just a quick recap: highest reseller markup, like out of all the brands, sends the wrong items or no items, has terrible customer service. They do partnerships to trick noobs into buying their overpriced garbage. They do replicas, they completely rip off other brands. One thing I haven't mentioned in my previous videos is that I did have a couple of Chinese Lolitas on Rednote tell me that apparently the word on the street in the Chinaverse is that they send replicas of the items that you're supposed to be buying of the like the Taobao brands. They like will straight up send you a replica of the Taobao brand instead of sending you the actual item from the Taobao brand. So I have not had any confirmation of that. That's just, I'm going off of what I have been told by Chinese Lolitas. And even in China, like Devilinspired has like a bad reputation. All right, so going to everybody's favorite Bodyline. So as everybody knows, they have the questionable lucky pack, questionable design contest, even more questionable model contest, and of course the most questionable CEO. So in the past, I actually have purchased a Bodyline lucky pack myself, and I will say that compared to other brands, it really isn't anything special. But of course, we can't go on without mentioning this specific Bodyline lucky pack that features 3 left and 14 right detachable sleeves. But don't worry, this isn't the only items that the user got. They ended up getting 2 jumper skirts, a tote bag, and a pair of pants. And Bodyline did eventually end up refunding them 50% of their order total. So in the end, they were happy with their purchase, and we have this weird but hilarious chapter added to the Lolita lore. So here's a couple examples of the design contest. So supposedly they would choose 1 or 2 winners of the design contest to have their item made into a real product. And what was supposed to happen is that you were basically giving them permission to use their design free of charge, and then they would give you 1 item of your design, like a physical product of it. Unfortunately, a lot of times that just straight up did not happen. They would make design of items that didn't even win. The person never got credit, which to be fair, like, actually, no, not to be fair, because that's basically like the whole thing. They would put it on their website, like, hey, so-and-so won, this is their design, we're gonna make it. And by at least stating like, hey, this person's design won, even if their name or information wasn't going onto the webpage with the actual product, at least they'd get like a shout out on the brand page that their item won, right? No, they would just straight up steal items from the design contest. Technically, you signed away your rights to as soon as you sent them in anyways. But then they would just make your product. They wouldn't give you a shout out on the page, and you wouldn't even get like your free item like you were supposed to. There have been some reports about some people winning the design contest and still not getting their one free item of their thing anyways. So of course we had a lot of legit items, and then we'd have like the troll submissions, like this little like, that obviously got made real. I kind of want to be like, who is vetting these designs, and like, did they really not realize? But then like some other things are like so straight up that I'm like, there's no way that they didn't know, because it literally says on there, and then they still got made. But I mean, it's Mr. Yan we're talking about. Of course, we had this lovely the violin boots that was submitted by somebody, and it actually got a design made out of it. That was really lovely. I remember when these came out, I really wanted a pair of my own, but I never got it because I don't have any music print stuff, so I just figured it probably wasn't a good investment into my wardrobe, so I never got it. This person, Miss Gacket Kamue, posted on July 25th, 2010. I will say the same thing as I said on the other topic about this. You are all giving up your design for free with no credit. All you get is one copy if you're lucky, or your item. You are basically designing for Bodyline, but they are making all of the money off of your work. My girlfriend entered, and even though she did not win, they made other items which are a blatant ripoff of her design. So you do the work of designing and get nothing for it. This contest is not worth it. So one of my favorites is the Kurituriso dress. This striped one is technically the Kurituriso dress, but a lot of people confuse it with the other squirrel dress, because I guess they were both entered during the same contest, and also they both have squirrels. So what is a kuritorisu? It has a funny way of kind of sounding like something mildly inappropriate in English. Of course, the kuritorisu dress is that's actually named that, but the other kuritorisu dress is also referred to this one. I'm not even gonna read it. Things going on with the squirrel, and if you have any questions about it, when you read the description, it like clears it up for you exactly what it's supposed to be. And that's all I'm gonna say about this. Here is the dress made in all of its glory. And of course, you can have the nice dress made. They had to make this one made, but all right, Bodyline. So in December of 2008, Bodyline made a post saying that Nadia of Mexico had won the model contest. Apparently, Mr. Yan was so very much in love with Nadia that he even made the very popular Love Nadia series that he named after her. Wow. Looking back on it, that's like fucking terrifying. Obviously, nobody is surprised at this point to hear that the Bodyline model contest was basically just a glorified waifu contest for Mr. Yan. So eventually a bunch of contest winners came out complaining about how after they rejected the Yanners, that he basically threatened to send them back to whatever country they came from, that they would be forced to like reimburse the hotel and the airfare, because he was just so pissed off about being rejected. Which is crazy, because this guy at the time was like 40s or 50s. Like, if you weren't a teen, you were too old to enter. Like, it was creepy as hell. A lot of people like to defend the behavior that like, oh, in Japan, the legal consent age is 16. Just because it's legal does not mean that it's moral or right or anything. Like, let's be real. Child marriage is legal in a lot of states in the US, and that shit is not cool. Like, this is full on predatory behavior. especially to threaten them like this is like not cool. A lot of times I know that he would request that winners would come without their parents, like by themselves. I do believe Nadia and quite a few others actually were like, no, like my parent is coming with me. Like I'm not going to meet like some strange man on the internet, like on the other side of the world by myself. Which honestly, like, good for them, good for those parents looking out for their kids. So then we eventually got this gem, the Mr. Yan So Furious sale of a picture of a little video of him like, of him straight up like kicking in a mirror, like shattering it. And that was shortly after one of the contestants, I don't recall which one, had just came back home, and they had told other friends. When they saw this posted, it absolutely terrified them, because everybody was wondering, like, there's this one post, you know, and like people were asking, why is he so furious? And then like eventually it came out, like, that's most likely why he was so furious, because he got once again rejected. So basically Mr. Yan is like a total creep, and like his creepdom was memeified, and for some reason we're all like effed in the brain. Like back then, like, we use humor to cope with like obviously scary things. And let's be real, like Mr. Yan is not the first to be like a total creep on women. That's literally just what it is to exist, being like a woman in the world in general. Like there's creeps everywhere. You grow up learning to watch out and to protect yourself from the creeps. Like that's the only way that I can, like, in my brain, justify the way that, like, how everyone behaved about it. Like everyone knew. We coped by laughing. And then Mr. Yan like embraced like this memification. You know, people would make jokes like, oh, you know, Mr. Yan so dreamy, because he would legit like post these like absolutely ridiculous photos of him riding in like a full EGL with a little black top hat perched upon his bald head, riding like a magnificent steed through the forest, where he'd find his like perfect Lolita waifu princess. But yeah, so he just capitalized it on this shit, and he made a body pillow. He held various tea parties around the world, including in the US and Mexico. He was just like living like the like celebrity life. Like everybody knew that he was a creep, and people still like embraced it anyways. I think things really started to change everyone's perspective on that when the model Yoshiko, she was doing photos and work for a while. Apparently she was even designing for them. She ended up posting on her own live journal page her experiences with Bodyline. They're all now deleted now, but what I could find through the Wayback Machine, she mentioned about how her passport was stolen. She was forced to live in the Bodyline factory, and Mr. Yan demanded that the baby that she was pregnant with, and how she didn't want to. And just like all sorts of crazy stuff about how she eventually was able to escape from the factory. But again, Bodyline and Mr. Yan like refused to give her back her things. So I have seen that Yoshiko has modeled for Victorian Maiden, so I'm very proud of her. I've seen that she's done a lot of like normie stuff, some high fashion stuff. It seems that she has a career and she is thriving now. And then for some reason, there was still people who still supported Bodyline and the model contest and everything. Most notably, Venus Angelic. But once Venus finally came to her senses and she ended up exposing Bodyline, I think it was like a lot bigger deal, because of course the people who knew Yoshiko's story were really just the Lolita community, but Venus really exposed him to like a much wider audience. All right, so I will be real, I did not do the Venus slides, but my friend Ellie, you're the best, she made these.
Venus Angelic, a former kawaii fashion YouTuber who rose to fame, began her journey on YouTube in 2010. She starred in an episode of the TLC show My Strange Addictions. At the end of the episode, it showed her going off to Japan to become Bodyline's next model, alone without her mother. She was only 15 at the time. After leaving Japan after the Bodyline drama, including leaking a secret, now deleted videotape of her confronting Mr. Yan for his shady behavior, Venus ran away from home and returned to Japan to marry her ex-stalker mega fan boyfriend, who was 6 years older than her. She eventually left him when their relationship deteriorated. In an interview with VTuber Kizuna Venus stated, among other things, that he was unable to separate Venus Angelic from the IRL off-screen Venus. Post Bodyline, most of her social media posts consist of family drama, including her own mother posting nudes of herself in an airport, complaining about how Venus ran away from home and no longer supports her financially, thus her homelessness in an airport. In all honesty, while both parties don't look great, it's not hard to see why Venus felt the need to run away. In most recent years, Venus had an illegal stomach surgery to lose weight, causing her to almost die. She also dated a married Yakuza member and tried to stab him and his family in their sleep. She eventually began doing porn and started an OnlyFans while slowly slipping into substance abuse. While recently she's become a full-blown alcoholic, been deported from Japan back to Switzerland, and posts crazy drunk ramblings on the internet. Her YouTube disappeared sometime after her last video in 2019, seemingly due with legal battles with her mother trying to retain monetary control over Venus's content, as she acted as her momager. A few months ago, Margaret began to upload old Venus videos to her own YouTube that she has complete control of herself. As you can see her, even in the early days when Venus was healthier, it's quite clear that Margaret had a classic stage mom personality who desperately tried to live vicariously through her daughter, whom she was probably very jealous of, and sees her as a meal ticket, saying things like, "It doesn't pay the bills yet, but I hope that maybe soon we can live from it." And also here you can see Margo posting nude selfies of herself with Venus playing piano in the background, like no big deal. As for Venus now, here's this Reddit post from about 3 months ago. I just found out about Margo being in the US news with a fake name and squatting. How did she get into this situation? What happened with the court case? Did she have any punishment? Where is she now? What was she even doing in the US? Why is Venus living an unhealthy life in Japan and other countries when they come from Switzerland, which is a nice, healthy society, and she has a father there? As previously mentioned, Marge is still trying to profit off of old Venus content and even went so far as to make a GoFundMe for money for why? As far as I know, no one ever contributed because why would they? And as of now, the GoFundMe has disappeared. Here's also a little snippet into what the last of her videos look like. As far as I know, none of them were actual adult content, but most of them just really clickbaity. Okay guys, that's it. We've gone through about 21 of the 78 slides. This is going to be a monster to record and edit, so I'm going to leave it here as a part 1, and I'll get back to you with a part 2 as fast as I can. I hope you've enjoyed this first installment of Lolita Hell, the good, the bad, and the ITA, and I'll chat with you again real soon. Bye!